No fire, no chains, no screaming, just fog and a shape that used to be a person. It shuffles forward without knowing why. It has always shuffled forward. This is where almost every Greek believed they were going. Not Tartarus, not paradise. Somewhere far worse than either. A place with no name people actually feared because it had no drama at all. The Greeks called it the Asphodel Meadows. We call it something else. The default. The waiting room every soul got assigned to, whether they deserved it or not. Because here's the part the myths conveniently leave out. Being good in the Greek underworld bought you exactly nothing. Stay with me. This is the story of a justice system that never actually existed. Go back to the oldest layer of the story. Homer, 8th century BC. Odysseus sails to the edge of the world to speak with the dead. You might remember that voyage. We told it in an earlier record. Now look at who he finds there. Achilles, the greatest warrior who ever lived, reduced to a whisper that can barely be heard. Odysseus tries to comfort him, tells him he must rule now, even among the dead. Achilles' answer is the coldest line in the whole poem. He'd rather be a landless servant to the poorest farmer alive than a king over every soul in this place. That's not a monster talking. That's the best man Greece ever produced. And death erased him just the same as it erased everyone else. No trial, no accounting for the 10 years he spent being a hero. Just the same gray fog for the noble and the cruel alike. So what does that fog actually look like? Geographically, 5 rivers cut through the Greek underworld, and each one does something to you. The Styx, where gods swear their most unbreakable oaths. The Acheron, the river of grief you cross first, in Charon's boat. Cocytus, the river of wailing. Phlegethon, a river that burns instead of flows. And Lethe, the river of forgetting. We'll come back to that one. Beyond them, the Asphodel Meadows. Endless, colorless, flat. Homer says the dead can't even speak properly there, not until they drink blood. Memory itself has to be restored to them, like a battery running out. Imagine that, existing forever, but slowly forgetting you ever existed at all. That's not a punishment reserved for the wicked. That's just what happened to you, to everyone, whether you spent your life as a hero, a coward, or nobody at all. Now, you're picturing Tartarus, the torture pit, the eternal punishments. That part is real. But look closely at who's actually down there. Sisyphus, endlessly pushing his boulder because he tricked death itself more than once. Tantalus, starving within reach of food forever because he served his own son to the gods to test them. Ixion, bound to a spinning wheel of fire because he tried to violate Hera, queen of the gods. Notice what these punishments have in common. None of them are ordinary crimes. None of them are he lied or he stole. Every single one personally humiliated a god. Tartarus wasn't a prison for bad people. It was a prison for people who insulted power. An ordinary murderer, an ordinary liar, an ordinary cruel man got the same fog as his victims. No special cell waiting for him. The worst thing a mortal could do by this system wasn't cruelty, it was disrespect. Surely goodness bought you something better, though. Elysium, the Isles of the Blessed. Here's the part that should actually bother you. In the oldest versions, Elysium isn't a reward for virtue at all. It's reserved for a handful of heroes with the right bloodline, demigods, favorites of the gods. One hero gets in, not because he was good, but because he married into a god's own family. You could live a spotless life and still never qualify. Wrong parents, wrong luck. This wasn't a heaven you earned. It was a gated community, and the gate was decided before you were even born. So picture the actual math for a regular Greek listening to this. Be cruel, same fog as everyone. Be perfect, also the same fog, unless a god happened to like your family. For centuries, that was just the deal. And then someone found a loophole. Starting around the 6th century BC, A new kind of religion spreads through Greece, the Orphics, followers of a mythical singer said to have walked into the underworld and back. Their promise was simple, and it was radical. You didn't have to accept the fog. Initiates were buried with something specific, a thin sheet of gold, rolled small enough to hold in a fist. Actual instructions for the afterlife. They told your soul exactly what to say to the guards down there, and which spring not to drink from. One spring makes you forget everything. The other, guarded, harder to reach, restores your memory completely. Drink from the wrong one, and you're just another blank face in the fog. Forever. Drink from the right one, recite the right words, and you get a better fate entirely. Read that again. The difference between oblivion and paradise was a password. Not a life well lived, a transaction. The right piece of gold in your grave. The gods never actually promised anyone a good afterlife for being good. Someone sold them one. If the idea that heaven itself had a price tag unsettles you, subscribe and stay with me, because there are darker truths than this one still buried. The Orphics weren't the only ones selling insurance. Every autumn, thousands of Greeks walked to a town called Eleusis for 9 days of secret ritual. What happened inside was a capital crime to describe. Break the silence, and Athens could execute you, but we know the shape of the promise. The initiated got something better waiting for them, and the uninitiated? Ancient writers described them stuck in mud and fog, forever, at the edge of it all, watching the initiated feast from the outside for eternity. So even at your gentlest, most communal religious festival, the message was still, pay or be left in the mud. Here's a grave, like thousands the archaeologists have opened, looking for one specific thing. You've heard this one. A coin for the ferryman, or your soul wanders the shore for 100 years. Archaeologists have opened thousands of Greek graves looking for that coin. Most of them don't have one, not close to most, a small minority at best. The single most famous ritual in the Greek afterlife may never have actually been followed by ordinary people at all. Centuries later, one philosopher tried to fix all of this. Plato tells the story of a soldier named Air, killed in battle, who wakes up on his own funeral pyre. He'd seen the whole system, souls actually judged, punished, rewarded, sent back to choose their next life. It's a beautiful story. It's also 400 years too late, and Plato admits he's making a point, not reporting a fact. The real, honest history is simpler and colder. The Greeks never agreed on justice after death, so some of them built it themselves instead. Not in the underworld, on Earth. A maze built to hold one monster and finally do the judging no god ever bothered with.